Snooker, loopy, nuts are we, me and him and them and me. We'll show you what we can do with a load of balls of the snooker cue. Pot the red and screw back for the yellow, green, brown, blue, pink and black. Snooker, loopy, nuts are we. We're all snooker, loopy. Cheers, boys.
Tom, I've got about an hour just to let you know, so
okay.
It got to be a 2-hour special. We'll save that for the World Championship.
We better go over to tonight's referee. It's Joe Hannard introducing the players.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame, Tom Mayhew to break.
Thanks, Hazel. And today I am joined by the king of the crucible. It's Joe Hannard.
Good evening, Hazel. Good evening, everybody at home. As you can see, I'm now the referee of the podcast and the commentator of the podcast.
I think it's about time, after 20-odd episodes, that we finally got a ref in to keep us in check.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, which ref would you say is your favourite ref, Tom?
Well, as you know, Joe, like all snooker nerds, I've got a list. I've got a big old rundown list.
Yeah.
I like Ben Williams. Yeah. Ben Williams, he seems quite funny.
Even when Jimmy White is shouting at him.
Even then, even then I would say I like him. It would be probably Ben Williams or Jan Verhaas. Who would be your favourite?
Jan Verhaas is my favourite. Yeah, Jan Verhaas is definitely my favourite. I do quite like... Well, I used to like Aaron Williams. Do you remember him many years ago? You'll probably know his face if you type him in.
This is the kind of content you can only get on the Snooker Loopy podcast. I'm going to Google what Aaron Williams snooker referee looks like.
I quite like Tony Camilleri. Again, you might need to research him, but he's a Maltese referee.
Oh no, I can't find Aaron Williams. It keeps coming up with Mark Williams.
Well, he is Welsh, to be honest.
Oh no. Okay, let's try if I put referee in as well, because it's just giving me hundreds of pictures of Mark. Oh, he's a good one. Look at his lovely moustache.
Yes.
Even though it's
do you remember him?
I do, but it's come up with a picture of Ben Williams as well, as if Google's going, "Come on, Tom, remember your loyalties."
Yeah. yeah. Jan Verhaas, Tony Camilleri, Aaron Williams. I mean, you've got to have a special shout out for Michaela Tab as well, I think.
Yes, groundbreaking Michaela Tab in many ways in the sport. Can't find a picture of... How do you spell Calamari?
Camilleri, let's see. I think it's Terry.
I've accidentally searched for Tony Calamari, and that's not right.
Hey, there he is, see? Look at this guy. Oh, God. Oh, there we go. I mean, this is a website dedicated to pictures of him, so...
Hold on, what?
There you go.
Dedicated to pictures of Tony Calamari?
Yeah, there you go. You'll have to let us know, audience, in the comments, who is your favourite referee. I'm expecting to see some Leo Scullions in there. Tatiana Wollaston.
Of course, Joe, your true favourite referee is the one from the World Snooker video games, whose name we don't know. Yes,
the unnamed referee, although I think John Virgo in either WSC 2002, 3 or 4 names the referee at some point. He's like, oh, the referee has done a good job there.
So you're going to have to do a playthrough of the game just to find out who the ref is.
Well, we are coming up to that sort of time of year, so I suppose.
Tony Calamari not reffing anymore then?
Terry Camilleri.
Calamari, sorry. Sorry, Terry. Is he not reffing anymore?
I don't know. I've not seen him for a long time.
He might just be hiding under the table.
I mean, he's still on the WSC website, to be fair. Where do you get your gloves? Very difficult nowadays, but from whoever has the best quality. There you go. What do you carry in your pocket? 2 ball markers, a coin, and a prayer card.
Is that every day of his life? Just walking
Interests. Football, brackets, Manchester United, comma, cars, and home DIY.
Can you get more of these? I mean, we did... This is classic Snooker Loopy podcast. We said that at the start, Joe was like, I've only got an hour, I've not got long, and now we've got 5 minutes of referee chat to start the podcast.
Most embarrassing moment, walking out to the table with my fly open.
Oh, I've got a new favourite ref, Joe. I've got a new favourite ref.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you find any trivia about other referees?
I think so. I think there's a whole page dedicated on the WST website. Perhaps we should save this for a future Cue the Laughter, Tom. Having a read through all of them and picking out some of our best, but have a little click on that. We've got other referee. I mean, there's a there's a section called Other Referees, which is the ones that haven't done well enough to get their own page. But we've got Jan Verhaas, Paul Collier, Desislava Boshilova, Marcel Urquhart, Olivia Martil, Rob Spencer, Terry Camilleri, Brendan Moore, who obviously isn't a ref anymore, Leo Scullion, Ben Williams, Tatiana Wollaston, Mike Kessler, Colin Humphreys. They've all got their own individual page.
And there's also a page called Becoming a Referee.
Yeah.
Which I am...
Well, lots of people do that, to be fair. Yeah, people that aren't good enough at snooker tend to do that to get involved in the sport.
Have you ever wondered how the referees at the heart of the action at the biggest tournaments got started in the profession? The role of a referee is crucial at both a professional and amateur level, and the WPBSA is currently working to provide a clear pathway for those with the talent and the enthusiasm required to be able to pick up the white gloves and progress to the very top of our sport.
There you go, Tom. There's time for you yet.
There is also a list of Triple Crown referees. Like, do you think someone like Jan Verhaas is like, yeah, I've refereed 4 Triple Crowns, and then Leo Scullion's like, I've only done 3. Like, do you think they get really competitive about it?
I mean, yeah, it's not a bad shout. I assume they do. I mean, we never see them together in a snooker match, so maybe they're all just big rivals. Although last year at the Crucible, I did see Rob Spencer and Jan Verhaas having a cigarette out the back door. So,
well, you didn't tell us.
I think them two are friends.
You didn't tell us this, Joe, last year.
I didn't. No, I didn't. But there you go. I will keep an eye out on my trip to the Crucible later this month for any more referees having a cigarette.
I'd like to think they were smoking Embassy cigarettes, just as like a reference to the previous sponsor of the tournament.
I mean, maybe you know more about this than me, Tom, but I have no idea whether Embassy is still a company that sells cigarettes.
I think they are. I remember I used to work behind a kiosk at Sainsbury's. I'm quite sure Embassy was one that popped up, even though it's probably less popular nowadays than bubblegum vape, to be honest.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Let's double check.
I have noticed, by the way, Tom. Go on.
I'm just googling Embassy cigarette. There we go, Joe. You can get Embassy Signature Gold 20-pack from Tesco's.
Oh, thanks. You know what? I might actually do that. I've never bought a cigarette in my life, so I suppose I might go and buy a packet of Embassies to put on my snooker display.
Oh my god, their tagline is, "Inhale to your heart's content." That is vile.
Inhale until your heart says no more.
Here's a quick review, Joe, for the Embassy Signature 20-pack on Tesco. These cigarettes are absolutely disgusting. They taste like dirt and smell awful.
You know what? It makes sense. It makes sense. You know what? This podcast is going to be cancelled now because we're advertising cigarettes.
That's why I thought I'd read the bad review. Don't smoke, kids.
Yes.
It's really bad for you.
Smoke.
It's really bad for you. And if you smoke, Leo Scullion will come round your house and tell you off.
Oh, I'm glad that he's only telling you off. That's good.
Do you think Leo Scullion and his other referee friends dress up as referees in their private life?
Well, how do you know they're not just wearing their normal clothes to referee?
You turned it into a philosophical question there, Joe.
Yeah. What is the meaning of being a snooker referee?
Do you have any favourite referee moments? I quite like the idea of us just talking about referees for as long as we can.
There was a moment where I don't know who it was, I can't remember, but they were like replacing the pink in the middle of the reds, when the pink spot's covered. And they just drop the pink and the reds scattered everywhere.
Oh, no.
That was pretty hilarious. There was also another time where I think it was Mark Selby was rolling up to the black, and then it didn't look like it hit, and Jan Verhaas went foul, and Mark was like, well, I hit it. And he was like, did you hit it? He was like, I didn't see you hit it. Did you hit it? I didn't see you hit it. And then it was back and forth, here and there, and then eventually he was like, no, I'm going to stick with my original decision. And then I think they were saying in the commentary box, oh, we need VAR. We need VAR.
Do you reckon I reckon we'll get VAR or something similar one day. I don't know how you'd implement it, though.
Well, Ronnie just sat in his seat go, challenge! Mr. O'Sullivan has challenged the call to the left corner pocket.
You see a slow motion replay of the ball just rattling the jaws.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
But, Hawkeye isn't used in snooker much anymore, is it?
No, it's not.
That used to be the big thing where the commentators used to pan round the Hawkeye and be like, this is the player's view. As you can see, they can't hit that red on the right-hand side. And I don't know whether you remember that. I mean, this could be a future Cue the Laughter kind of thing, but do you remember there was a Snooker Pulse on BBC about 2009, 2010?
Yes, oh my God, I've just had the craziest flashback. Like, you've just mentioned something I've not thought of for 10 years. Yes.
Because I remember they used to be like, right, this is our Snooker Pulse question. Do you think Steve Davis is going to win this match or lose this match? And you just had to vote, and it was one of those odd things where they were trying to get interactivity.
Was it on the red button or something like that? Or was it through social media?
Yeah. It was on the red button.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they ever went, and who's your favourite snooker referee? Please vote now. And we'll give...
I hope so.
We'll give the winner a pack of Maltesers.
Yes. Or it would have actually been chocolate-covered malt balls.
Of course.
Because they're not allowed to advertise.
The BBC, of course, they're not allowed to do it. Unless they also advertised every other chocolate bar at the same time.
Ooh, that's controversial. Is a Malteser a chocolate bar?
I mean, it's not technically a bar because they introduced those teasers that were like Maltesers chocolate bars. That would be a chocolate bar. So I'm guessing it's not a chocolate bar, but I would call it a chocolate.
Oh, there you go. We'll leave it up to the viewers to decide.
Okay, viewers' question. Number 1, who's your favourite referee? And number 2, which chocolate bar would you buy your favourite referee?
And it's got to be a chocolate bar, not just a wishy-washy chocolate.
I reckon Ben Williams would love a Yorkie.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I also think he would be very traditional with Yorkies and say they're not for women as well.
Slightly more controversial there, Joe.
I think Ben Williams would see the funny side of it.
No, I was about to say, do you remember when they did pink Yorkie bars for girls? But this isn't Snooker Loopy, Joe. I mean, it is Snooker Loopy, but it's nonsense.
It might have been a pink Yorkie to celebrate the pink ball on a snooker table.
That's very true, yeah. They've got the blue wrapper and the chocolate's brown. I mean, they're covering most of the bases.
And if you leave it in your cupboard a long time, it might go green. So...
Green Yorkie, not for anyone. Don't eat it, mate. It's not healthy. No, Ben, no! Ben, don't eat it! No, Ben, no! Oh, he's at it.
That's him out of this year's World Championship.
The referee for tonight was going to be Ben Williams, but he ate a mouldy Yorkie bar.
Well, that was quite amazing.
Thank you to third frame. Mark Williams to break.
Got the crowd going there, watching Mark eating sweets.
Yeah, I said his queuing was sweet, but steady on.
Oh, he's kept a few for later as well there.
Anyway, Tom. Anyway, on to the important things. You know that spreadsheet that Matt very kindly made for us with all the cue the music's on there.
Yes, yeah.
I've noticed he's snuck in at number 2. Everlasting Love by John Virgo brackets Joe Hannard. 10 out of 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, apparently he must have liked that one.
So are we going to listen to a full-length version of this today so I can give it a rating?
No. Oh, no, it says 10 out of 10, Tom. Tom and Joe gave it 10, so there you go. You've had your decision made.
And when will that be available to purchase?
Go back to episode 22 and soundbite it.
Can you imagine if we wrote to whoever the copyright holders were for Everlasting Love and said, "Excuse me, could we have permission for for Joe Hallard to do a cover of this song as John Virgo?"
Well, I think they'd just say yes. They let Joe Johnson do it, so...
So are you putting your John Virgo rendition up there with Joe Johnson?
Oh, it's above it on this list.
Genuinely, Joe, Easter Sunday, we were just sat eating our roast dinner, having a lovely time. The radio was on in the background. They started playing Everlasting Love, and I started laughing. And then my girlfriend Liv went, what are you laughing at? And I had to explain to my whole family that the reason it was funny was because it was covered by 80s snooker world champion Joe Johnson.
And did they find it as funny as you did?
No, they went, "Oh, of course you find that funny." They kind of rolled their eyes a bit.
Ah. Well, I find it funny, Tom.
Next Easter, I'm going to have to get the studio recording. We need it in high quality. I'm going to play it. I'm going to go, "Look, it's Joe Johnson."
Yeah, we need to hunt down Joe Johnson's daughter, don't we? Because she seems to have the only copy of this.
I mean,
vinyl.
listeners, please don't take that sentence out of context.
In a good way.
In a good way. We need to hunt her down in a good way, yes.
We need to track her down. And
It's not helping, Joe. Not helping.
we need to track her down and ask her politely for her dad's vinyl.
Yeah.
Just to borrow it. Then she can have it back. But anyway, we haven't spoken about snooker once, or the snooker that's been on recently. Obviously, we are in the midst of the Tour Championship, which has been expanded to 12 players. But we've just had the mixed doubles over the weekend. Did you watch any of the mixed doubles, Tom?
To be honest, I watched very little because it was over Easter weekend, which I think is pretty...
Yeah.
I mean, it's either really good scheduling or really poor scheduling, depending on how busy you are. But it's probably a smart idea. But I just was too busy. But from what I read on Twitter and Facebook, it was. I mean, did you watch any of it? The quality.
I watched some of it.
It seemed
Yeah.
like the quality of play was not brilliant.
I mean, put it this way: it was no better or worse than it was 18 months ago. So.
Okay.
I don't really know why people were kicking off as much this time, when last time it was literally on ITV1. Mm-hmm. But what's weird this time is that the players seem to have come out, particularly the men, saying, this, that and the other about it. I mean, the women are all for it because they're getting the biggest exposure they'll probably ever get it at this stage anyway.
And the biggest payday of their season, to be frank.
Well, yeah.
Deservedly so, but yeah.
Yeah. But even the winner of the Women's World Championship only gets about $5,000, I think. So, But, no, I mean, it was won by Rhian Evans and Luca Bressel. I don't think there could be a better pair of players to win that sort of tournament because you've got the Men's World Champion and you've got the 12-time Women's World Champion together. I know Ronnie and Rhian Evans were teamed up last year. I suppose that would have probably been a slightly better pairing to win, but no, I thought I've seen plenty of stuff online about it. I think any publicity is good publicity in that way, even if the snooker wasn't fantastic. But to be honest, it very rarely is fantastic snooker unless it's in the latter stages of a really big tournament, and you don't tend to see free-flowing centuries all over the place. And I think people have this weird misconception about snooker, actually, that it is all that, when it's on the men's tour, or the main tour, I should say.
Well, and it's very hard for either the male or female player to make a big break or do a fantastic clearance, because they're not playing their normal game. You're playing every second shot, really, so it's not like you can create an opportunity in your usual game plan, because you're relying on your partner to play exactly the same shot as what you would do, which they probably wouldn't do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's an event. I think it has a place on the calendar. I don't really get what people were moaning about. If you're happy with the shootout on there, then, I think equally you've got to be happy with events like the doubles.
I think it's great. I really like the fact there's a variant event like the shootout that's a different format, a different style, and I would think doubles, whether it was mixed doubles or normal doubles, is a great kind of addition, because it mixes it up, and it's kind of...
It should never be a ranking event, though. That's the one thing I will say.
But one thing I think it is missing, they should have had mixed referees, doubles as well.
Did you think this before the start of this episode, Tom?
I've thought it for many years. No, I didn't. But they should double everything.
And now we've got Jan Verhaas and Michaela Tab.
Yeah, they should double everything. Double the commentators, double the Rob Walker, just twice as much.
Well, I mean, Joey Barton would have something to say about that, wouldn't he? Having a female commentator.
And that proves it's a good idea if it annoys Joey Barton.
Yeah.
Did you know, Joe, I was reading about it literally just before the podcast, that in the doubles world championship or something years ago, Alex Higgins got really angry with Dennis Taylor and threatened to have him shot.
Well, that's just a day in the life of Alex Higgins, isn't it, to be fair?
Apparently he was banned for a whole season, and I didn't even know this. I was like, wow, that's... I mean,
wow,
rightly so.
Yeah, no, I have heard that. I've heard that before. But, yeah. Bonkers.
Just wonder if John, being the doubler that he is, was in his mind there. Now, is he playing the double?
He is. Look out, left corner pocket. Here it comes. Here it comes. Unbelievable. You can't leave this man any sort of double. And from the bottom cushion, you knew he was going to take it on. Dave Gilbert thought it was safe, but it wasn't.
Shall we do cue the laughter first, just to mix it up a little bit?
I'm happy with that.
This is probably something you've seen before. It's just something that came up on my radar a little bit over the last few days. But I don't know if you... Well, can you tell me the most famous snooker match in history?
I presume it'd be the 1985 World Championship Black Ball final.
Yes, so why was that... such a famous match?
Oh, well, it was one of the most watched sporting events of all time. I think it was the most viewed post-midnight audience for any TV show ever, probably even still. And it's just famous for the classic drama, of course. Dennis Taylor winning it on the black ball, beating the great champion Steve Davis, and holding up his cue in the air and doing that celebration that we all know so well, waggling his little finger like that.
Well, there you go, Tom. You're clearly an expert on the black ball final, aren't you?
Yeah, I put that at the start of my Tinder profile.
Oh God. Well, Liv must be a keeper then if she read that, and
that was what sprung it. I couldn't believe it.
So anyway, Tom, can you remember a world championship that we talked about earlier?
Do you mean the 1986 because of Joe Johnson?
No. We talked about some BBC feature to do with it.
Do you mean the Pulse? The BBC Pulse?
Yes. What was the year? Was it
2009?
Oh, well, yeah, I said 2009 or 2010. And Steve Davis got to the quarter-final that year, didn't he? Well, anyway, in the semi-finals, before the semi-finals got started, they did this, because it was 25 years after that most famous match.
Oh, yes. Here we go. Davis versus Taylor, the rematch.
The rematch, 25 years after. And I don't... when was the last time you've seen this? I presume you've seen this before, Tom.
I think you would have sent me this many years ago during the start of our snooker friendship.
There you go. And, for people that haven't seen it, so they did a rematch exhibition with Steve Davis and Dennis Taylor in 2010. And I think that's the last sort of exhibition that I can think of during the World Championship that they did just to have a bit of fun. And funnily enough, the referee's Arian Williams.
Yay! There we go. It makes it even better. And he was also the referee in 1985. No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. And I would just recommend, to get you into the snooker spirit ahead of the World Championship, give it a watch. Tom will put it in the description, but that it includes about, like 1985, about 20 minutes on the black, and just some really, really funny moments, probably some jokes that haven't aged as well in terms of political correctness, but
what are you implying that Dennis Taylor
that's why we
says
love
here?
Dennis,
What
isn't
are we
it?
implying?
And full commentary from John Virgo and Willie Thorne.
Oh,
so there you go.
Beautiful.
So it's I think it's a really special part of snooker, actually, this rematch, to like have that in existence, with Rob Walker introducing them and them talking through everything. I don't think it'll happen next year for the 40th anniversary, for instance, and I certainly don't think it would happen in 2035 for the 50th anniversary, but you never know. They might do, but it's such a light snooker experience, and I remember watching it live back when it happened, and it was very good. And it still holds up very well. So
I think that's lovely, and
there'll certainly be a lot of laughter in there.
Well, and I think that's lovely, and I think that's probably things like that are part of like the inspiration of us even doing this podcast, because there should be things that are more sort of light-hearted and silly in the snooker world, and it's kind of been lost over the past 10 years or so. Like, I mean, definitely the past 20 years since the end of Big Break, or you'd have Virgo doing his impressions or trick shots. All that stuff's kind of disappeared.
Yeah, and I don't know whether you remember in the BBC coverage of the World Championship, they always used to have a commentator's challenge, and it would be during the mid-session interval that, like, all the commentators would do Mastermind, or they'd do a pub quiz, or they'd do classic shots. I think that was the best one, 2011, where they'd try and recreate classic shots, and they'd all like score each other on it. And I think things like that really make coverage and experience things that people remember. Do you know what I mean? I don't necessarily remember many of the matches in 2011, but I'll remember that, they did the classic shots that year, the commentators. Yeah. And I know certainly on the 40th anniversary of the Crucible, I think it was 2017, they did this sort of opening night on the Friday where they brought back all the former world champions, and Cliff Thorburn had a go at his yellow and all of that. I just think we need more of that, more leaning on snooker history and snooker fun moments, classic moments in snooker.
That's part of what I think is really good about the Seniors 900 events that have been televised. Did you watch the Irish Masters one?
I didn't watch the Irish one, no. But
because Ken won, and he was genuinely emotional at the end. He was saying how, when I was, a teenager, I used to work sort of serving drinks in this venue, and now I'm back here winning. And he was tearing up a bit, and it was beautiful to see. And it was a real kind of celebration of like, that's why we love that guy. That's why we love that personality. And that's why we love Dennis, because that moment earlier on. And it's just sillier and funny.
Yeah. Rather than letting Dennis just commentate and people think, he's just this weird old Irishman that continually talks about Vicky. You actually see, well, hang on a minute, this is why he is, who he is. He is a bit of a jester. He is a bit of a comedian, He isn't just saying these things out of cliche like Phil Yates is. He's saying them out of comedy, almost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He knows what he's doing, that man. Most of the time. Most of the time, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Yes. But no, I thought I'd resurface that one just ahead of the World Championship. It's called Steve Davis versus Dennis Taylor, the rematch. And I mean, I don't know how many views it's had on YouTube. Let's have a little gander. 858,000 views, which has got to be more than a lot of WST's videos these days. So considering that's not even an official channel, I just wish they'd do more of those things. Maybe they could do Hendry versus Jimmy White, decide and frame the rematch, that sort of thing. And I think things like that are what make snooker unique, is that it's an individual sport, but it's always been, we're all in it together, we're all contributing to a bigger cause, if you like, with snooker. And I think that nobody has ever seen themselves as bigger than the sport of snooker, other than maybe Ronnie. But we can let that one slide.
Before we talk about the final in '85, what an unbelievable 12 days you've had here.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed myself. It's been great, and I'd like to thank all of the fans that have been coming along to watch. I really felt the warmth of it was marvellous, but obviously we're not here today to talk about that.
Well, I know those memories of '85 have lingered long, and it's a subject very close to your heart, actually. In fact, I'm sure you enjoy speaking about '85 more than your 6 world titles from that decade. It was just an iconic moment in British sport. Could you take in the enormity of what was happening at the time?
No, not really.
Well, Dennis certainly enjoyed it, but he said that snooker was the winner that night. Would you agree?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
And so, Joe, after that piece of laughter, which you have cued, there's maybe some music we should cue.
I'm nervous. I always get nervous around cue the music time.
Cue the music. There's a lot of songs we do which are a bit more obscure. Like, I don't know how many people would have heard 147 as my idea of heaven before last episode.
Oh, hang on. I need to rate that song and pop that into the charts somewhere.
I do have to admit, Joe, since the last episode, I did listen to 147 for pleasure.
Well, there you go. And you listened to Everlasting Love.
It's the chorus.
Unexpectedly.
I did, yes. But it's the chorus. It's the 147. And the come on, hurricane. It's brilliant.
Come on, hurricane.
But today's one people will know. It's probably best known as the theme tune to Big Break. I think it was actually a song before then, but it was released by Mike Batt and sung by Captain Sensible. It's just called the Snooker Song. So shall we have a listen to that, Joe?
Yes, let's cue the music.
It's only a game, so put up a real good fight. I'm gonna be snookering you tonight. I'm playing for my aim, so you better believe I'm right. I'm gonna be snookering you tonight.
Classic, Tom. You know what? I don't think I've ever seen a full episode of Big Break, because obviously it's slightly before my time, just slightly, in terms of living memory, if you like. Obviously it ended in 2002, so I would have been, 5 when that came out, so I probably hadn't watched it. But do you have any memories of Big Break?
Not really, because again, slightly before my time in terms of me being big into snooker. I probably got big into snooker when I was just as Big Break was kind of ending, and this was back in the days, of course. But back then, I mean, did you say it ended in 2002?
2002, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I would have probably been about 10 then, and what was on telly was what Mum and Dad wanted on telly, and clearly they didn't like Big Break for some reason. I don't know why. So I just hadn't really seen it. I was aware of the theme song. I think somehow that's just entered popular culture and people know it whether they watch the show or not, probably because the show was on for years.
Yeah. I mean, it had 14 series. It's quite impressive, really. And I think it showed. I mean, it only ran from 91 to 2002, which I wouldn't say is the absolute golden age of snooker. So I think it's the sort of thing that could actually make a bit of a comeback at some point. They are bringing back more and more shows from that sort of time. The only thing I think that would ruin a modern day big break is, I hate this word, but the wokeness, if you like, and not being able to push the boundaries a little bit with comedy, and they'd probably feel like they'd have to hit every demographic of different snooker players and presenters, and I feel like that would take away the charm of snooker being a very working man's game, in inverted commas there. But I think that's what sort of made, from the outside in, what made Big Break back in the 90s was that it was a slightly controversial comedian and John Virgo and snooker players from the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jim Davidson, I don't think his stuff's held up at all now in terms of modern day standards.
Well, exactly,
At the time, he was exactly the kind of comedian, and probably still would be a comedian today, who would do very well at the working men's clubs, where they would also play snooker and pool. So it kind of made sense, and it did fit that culture in the 90s, I would say. They would have to make it different if they brought it back.
But also, a big part of it was John Virgo, and I think who out there can replace that figure in a modern day interpretation of Big Break? But it's an interesting discussion.
The closest I would say, if I was recasting Big Break and I needed a John Virgo figure, I would probably go for either Ken or McManus.
Oh, McManus is an out there shout.
I think he's not someone who's known for his comedy stuff, but I reckon he could play an interesting role, be a bit more of a straight man, against a comedian. But also, I reckon he would be able to come up with some. So he's got the gravitas, I think, to present stuff.
You know who else I think could do well at it? And you're either going to love or hate this idea, but Sean Murphy.
Oh, he's going to present it, isn't he? He's going to present it.
Do you not think he's actually perfect for it?
Well, no, because he'll want to be Jim Davidson and John Virgo and be playing at the same time and commentating on himself. It'll be just the Sean Murphy show.
Oh, dear. I tell you what, though, Ken is a good shout, because Ken is hilarious. But back to the song. Went on a slight tangent there. Of course, the snooker song is what it's called. And it is, I mean, we were both just swaying away to it, weren't we? And, I think it's one of those that's got absolute iconic snooker status of, hopefully it will always be remembered and will always be played over a little snooker montage at certain points. Much like Snooker Loopy has done. Now, the big question for me is it as good as Snooker Loopy as a snooker song? That's where my head's at. So for me, I'll go first with the ratings. I think on balance of things, I think it's probably around an 8.5 for me. I think it's not quite perfection like Snooker Loopy, but it's not. I mean, it's not anywhere near some of the dross we've listened to, But what would I rather listen to, Everlasting Love or the snooker song? And it might be Everlasting Love, which I gave Everlasting Love an 8. So really, that means it should be a 7.5. But I'm going to give it an 8.5.
I think we underrated Everlasting Love. I don't know why we didn't just give it a 12. Do you know what I mean? Just.
Yeah.
Give it a 147 maximum score.
147 is my idea of heaven.
Oh, I think I underrated that as well. I don't know whether I did.
You gave it a 6.5, Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alex Higgins. I mean, he won't hear this. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm sorry,
I mean,
but
to be fair, you gave Green Green Grass of Home by Dominic Dale an 8.
yeah, but that's only because I found. Oh, see, I was sold by his terrifying stare, singing it into the camera, like. And I think I mainly gave it an 8 because at the end he goes, "Oh, I've got the shepherd's crook." And... Okay, well, I'm going to give the snooker song, I'll give it a 9. It's iconic. You can't sort of help but sort of hum and sway along to it. You know, it's up there culturally with Snooker Loopy as like top tier snooker songs. So yeah, I'd give it a 9.
Very good. I'm giving it an 8, so that gives it an average score of 8.5, which pops it in at number 4 on our list. Well, that's if you include the Everlasting Love John Virgo brackets Joe Hannard song. Really, it's up there at number 3, just behind the Mark Selby snooker song and Snooker Loopy itself.
Come on, you must know some funny old snooker stories, don't you?
Well, a lot of the funny things that happen at snooker, people don't see, because a lot of the snooker's recorded. I mean, when the people are watching it, 12:30, 1 o'clock at night, we're not playing then. Terry Griffiths and Cliff Thorburn are, but most of us...
Beautiful. Well, Joe, the last thing for us to do, really quickly, of course, is talk about the Tour Championship final, which you will be going to.
Yes, no, I'm very excited for that, actually. Obviously, the Tour Championship, I think, is one of the best events in the calendar, actually, because it's long matches, 2-session matches all the way through, which I think, well, the only other tournament that does that is the World Championship. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm there all day on Sunday at Manchester Central. I've seen there's a nice big fan zone in there, so I'll hopefully be able to get some snippets of merchandise for you and see if they've finally sold that copy of World Snooker Championship 2011.
I hope not. I really
Although
hope
I'm not sure they will have. And also the balls by Chris Henry. We'll see if they're still there. But yeah, no, looking forward to it. Starts a big snookering month for me because I am at the Crucible again middle Saturday, which is end of April. So that's going to be good. In exactly the same seats as last year, Tom. That's how my mind works.
Oh, well, that's going to make this year's edition of Spot Joe much easier, to be honest.
Yes, and I have a little quiz for you, Tom. Can you remember the 4 players that I seen at the Crucible last year? Actually in the arena, not just out and about.
Well, you saw Jack Lazowski and Stuart Bingham for one frame.
They weren't playing each other, but I did see those two
okay,
players.
So who was Bingham against? Bingham was against... Okay, Bingham, Lazowski... Oh, I'm not sure. Kyron Wilson?
No, it was Bingham versus Mark Allen. Mark Allen beat him 13-4, and it was Anthony McGill versus Jack Lazowski. And I think McGill won the session 7-1 or something, which was bonkers. And then, of course, I went to meet Stuart Bingham after it. Yes, which is where Bingham's balls came from.
Can't believe, Joe, it's been a year since you went to the Crucible and picked up a pair of Bingham's balls.
I know. So I'm hoping that there'll be another meet and greet at the Ronnie O'Sullivan shop on that day. I might be able to get another one for me collection. Knowing my luck, it'll probably be David Lilly.
Oh, mate, if David Lilly gets to the second week at the Crucible, that would be incredible. That would make my year.
I'm not sure that's going to happen, Tom, but, one can always hope, can't they?
I'm going to go place a bet right now. David Lilly.
Go. Rather you than me. Well, I mean, it's... it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. Another chance on the Q Zone table as well to give it another go. I feel like I'm in a much better position to do that this year. I'm in much sharper practice than I ever was. So yeah, no, it's been fun though. We've obviously got the Tour Championship coming up. Quick prediction on who you think's going to win the Tour Championship?
I mean, it's really hard to look past the Ronnie Trump, one of those two. I'm going to go...
Yeah.
Part of me thinks Trump's going to win it, but then Ronnie might win the Worlds.
Yeah. That's that. You know what? I'm also of the same school of thought of whoever wins the Tour Championship won't win the World Championship, but the other one will. It's going to be one of them two, I would think. But
if Tom Ford wins the Tour Championship, I will be ecstatic. Just a random name like that.
Only because his name's Tom. Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been a ranking winner called Tom. And you've had Joe Johnson, you've had Joe Perry.
Joe Perry.
Joe Davis. I need
oh, yes,
I need a player called Tom to finally win something.
Yes, I've got 16 World Championships to my name.
I've got...
You have...
0
none.
Titles. Good luck, Tom Ford.
There's got to be a Tom. There's got to be a Tom that's won a ranking event. That's your homework between episodes.
I don't think there has. There's far more... There's probably more Joes, more Higginses that have won ranking events.
Yeah. I think that there's been at least 2 Higginses. There's been 3 Davises. I don't think Mark Davis has won a ranking title.
It's been 2 Whites.
2 Whites, yeah. 1 Brown. Brown. 4. But yeah, no, looking forward to it. And I think we'll be back for... our preview of World Championship qualifying and maybe predicting who we think will make the 16. 16 up. We'll pick our teams again and we'll see how many points we score. Obviously, we've got Neil Robertson in the qualifiers this year. So.
Jack Lisowski, Stuart Bingham. It's crazy. Like so many big names.
Jimmy White. Jimmy White, interestingly, I had a look at Jimmy White's path, and if he is to qualify, he will have to beat Jack Lisowski. So that's probably not going to happen, but yeah.
I mean, no, it's not.
I mean, Jimmy White has, I think, won 2 matches all season, so the thought of him winning 4 matches to get to the Crucible is ludicrous, really. But
he'll still believe, Joe.
We'll see.
We'll see. That's what counts.
Yeah. Well, he'll say he still believes. Whether he does or not, I don't know. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome. Let us know at home about your favourite referees, and we'll be back very soon. It's going to be a very busy month for snooker and for the podcast. So we'll see you very soon.
Yes.
Look after yourselves and spot Joe at the final on Sunday.